guys, it's me, Ruowen Huang. It's been a while, I get it, a very long time. But I believe many people like me, if you have kids, we tend to, devote our time to our kids. But anyway, today, hopefully, September start, we can get back to our usual routine. Before I start, let me introduce myself. My name is Ruowen Huang. I'm an author, spirit coach, and also a psychic. Today I want to talk about there's only one true self, like we need to seek for. Why does this topic come up? Because a while back I was having this conversation with a client, and the client's been studying spirituality for quite some time. And then she say it's quite confusing sometimes to her. It seems like all the spirituality classes are always asking people seeking for their higher self. So higher self, like, the wiser one, the wiser part of us, right? So, because of that, she's always having struggle within herself. We all know what our higher self would do, right? They do some smart thing, nice things, or better things. Why? When they make that decision, there is this part of us feel resistant, right? Why? Because our society or the environment teach us if someone hurt us, then we hurt them back, right? Of course, why the higher self of you would tell you, no, you should let it go, you should love people, you should treat people with love or generosity and all that, blah, 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 right? So anyway, while the girl was talking about this, I started to have a laugh. The reason I have a laugh is, I don't know about you, but really, after the journey I have, I come to this conclusion, so there's only one self, like not so many. I get it, you got ego. So you got your ego and you got your higher self, and sometimes you get heart. Long time ago, I talked about a soul. The soul is actually created by three parts of you. This three part, remember, gotta be, pay attention here. This three part of you is one called logic. Logic is created by your environment, society, or whatever you call, right? Your background. And the other one is your spirits. Your spirits usually know the better part of you, the wiser, probably know your whole incarnation, why you plan the task, why you come to the side dealing with whatever you're dealing. And then there's another part of you called heart. The heart don't usually feel by logic or anything. Heart sometimes just feel, right? We feel it, but sometimes it doesn't even have any reasonable, explanation to it. So, if you understand what I'm saying, each soul, as a human being, you contain three things. You got your logic. I'm gonna here put your mind. And then you have your higher self. This is a higher self, which in here I will call soul, your soul. And then here, this is your emotion. Where your emotion is, your heart. Here I will call it heart. So when we're born to this world, we contain those three things. You will have your brain. The brain will tell you who you are, what you do, why you are the person you are. And then your soul will usually see beyond that. It will understand why you come to this life, dealing with obstacle because there's a lesson to be learned and all that, blah, 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 blah. And then there's a heart. Heart is usually you feel without knowing why, right? Because this soul built in a certain way, sometimes you simply feel and you have no explanation to it. So, when you are pursuing spirituality, what very often is no matter what class you take, it could be, ESP, or it could be NLP, it could be whatever lesson you, or even if you choose a religious journey that you want to pursue, it doesn't matter. What it does is it start introduce you a soul. That is where you call higher self. Higher self is what will soul do. What will soul think? How soul think, right? And can the mind mean ego? Yes, usually ego is created by mind, by your environment, by logic, by how people tell you to think. That's how the ego start forming. Once the ego start forming, it becomes your logic mind, right? So anyway, if you take on any spirituality class, very often they start introducing you soul because they assume you don't know, right? So they're gonna tell you, well, what soul do? Soul will think from this base. Soul will do this. Soul will do that, but soul will not do that, right? So very often when you're dealing with any obstacle in life or any situation in life, you will start to have a different aspect of thing. That is what will soul do. That is different from ego. Here, let me put ego here in case some of you question. So you start being introduced what will soul do that is different from my ego, right? So if you start to pursuing that route, you will try. Really, you have to try. I get it. It might go against your will, go against what your logic say, but you have to give it a try. The reason of that is eventually what we try to seek is this point. This point. Because your true self hide in here. So very often when you're dealing with situation, you really have to negotiate. How do you negotiate? You understand. If you don't understand what your higher self would do, try that. If you do understand, you come to this point that you do understand what your higher self would do. Now I'm going to introduce you a new technique. You don't always go with what your higher self would do because your higher self, soul, sometimes go very extreme. Okay? It's like a good guy, bad guy, they sometimes fight. So the best solution is not to follow good guy, not to follow bad guy, but see how we can compromise. And then that's what you need to exercise doing is your ego mind will have to always negotiate with your soul. That is, my ego might someone might say something really bad to me. My ego might want to say something bad and hurt them double because my ego, right? Somebody hurt me, I'm gonna hurt them back, right? So my ego might say, you say something to hurt me, I'm gonna say something back to you, right? But my higher self will say, no, shut up for now, right? Just think, step back and think, right? Because we should treat them with love and all that. But you know what? If I treat them with love, the ego self of me would feel very unbalanced, right? So what can we do? What can we do is, okay, I might want to say something that really hurt them, but I'm willing to compromise. I won't say that. Right? So what can I say that would balance out my ego and then also agree by my higher self? So once you start doing this exercise in regular basis, really, it takes months for you to practice. But once you start to doing it in regular basis, you will start to realize next time when things happen, you don't even have to negotiate. You already know what the answer is going to be. You already know a solution that will make you happy and also make your higher self happy, right? Because it really all through exercise. Why do I only talk about those two? For your information. It's already hard to negotiate. We all know, right? You go to any meeting and things like that. It's already hard to get two people agree with one another, right? So I would not ask you guys to try to agree with three people because it's hard. A lot of us, I would say most of us function by our logic, our mind, and our ego. But there's also a small percentage of the people who is actually, living their life motivated or inspired by their feeling, emotion, controlled by their feeling, emotion, right? So what I try to say here, if you are a person here or you are a person here, doesn't matter. Try to work with your higher self first. Really, try to work with your higher self first. Once you find out this area, and you come to this point that you no longer have to negotiate. You just, things happen, I know what to do. I know a solution that can satisfy my little ego, but meanwhile satisfy my higher self. Then you try to introduce the third friend into this negotiation. Eventually, by doing this exercise back and forth, negotiating, you will find your true self because your true self hide here. Who you are, who you really are. That's what you're seeking for. So unlike what other spiritual class or things like that might try to convince you. We are here to find out what our higher purpose is, or, it's all here. What I'm here to really just introduce another concept to you. This is not all, because if we come to this life to live here, really, we don't have to really reincarnate at all, because we would be happy as a soul. Obviously, there's something soul itself cannot do that require brain and that require your feeling. So, what I'm here to conclude, what I'm talking about is, there's only one true self that you need to seek for. It's not a higher self part of you. It's not an emotional part of it. It's not a brain part of you. But it's the combination of three. Because after all, we are created by those three, right? With body, with a feeling, with a higher knowledge of us that's hidden, we will eventually find out what that true self really is. So, yes, to answer your question, somebody asked questions. So the practice will be gradual. So not you just jumping around. Really, my suggestion to you, at least from my personal experience, right? Focusing on one thing. We all know when we try to focusing on so many things, how we end up doing. We realize how difficult it is, right? And then we eventually give up. The best way to train yourself, train your body, you know what I mean? Focusing on one thing. That one thing, until you master it, until you notice it become part of you, everything else become very easy. You know what I mean? So to give an example, you want to be a very powerful and respectful person, right? That's two things. I get it. Eventually you get there. But if you try to do this two things at the same time, you will find it very, very overwhelming sometimes. And then you will tend to give up. It's the same thing as us try to lose weight. You know what I mean? So the best way to do is, for a period of time, my period of time to you is focusing on 3 months to 6 months. Focus on respectful. If I want to be a respectful person, then everything coming out of my mouth is going to be respectful. Every behavior I do gonna speak respectful. Who I am will speak respectful. That's all you have to focusing on until it become part of you. Then you can say, I am a respectful person already. I already master it. Then you focusing on being powerful. You know what I mean? So anyway, same thing as a soul. It's going to be a long journey. You are not going to do everything right at the beginning. You know what I mean? So expect failure. Failure is okay. Don't get discouraged. Once you fail, just remember, hey, I learned. Tomorrow will be better. Next time will be better. So when you continue to encourage yourself, you will start to realize how your percentage of mistakes start to vanish, so slowly diminish, right? Because just like baby, you want to teach people how to run. You cannot say, hey, run without falling, right? So it's the same thing. Be the same way to yourself. So we can practice to get the fluency for the first period. Yes. You really just have to master the first thing. So at the beginning, no matter you are heartfelt person, logic-driven person, it doesn't matter. Try to connect with your higher self. Usually it's introduced through various things, spiritual journey, all the religions or anything. That is a way to show you what your higher self might do or decide. So I believe your spirit guide will guide you to find whatever way that fit you, right? Once you start negotiate with them, find out what that middle point is, then start introduce the third party. So usually from my experience, if you practice this negotiation and then you master it, the third thing become very easy for you. So anyway, just to wrap up my topic, instead of feeling you are like, I don't know how you call it, schizophrenia or multiple personality, right? You only have one self, one, not many. So instead of letting all this mind fighting one another, try to create a negotiating table, have them sit down and talk, and then come to agreement. Seriously, exercise it more, and then you will realize how easy it comes. So, I'm gonna wrap up for now, otherwise I will talk forever. But good to be back, and then I guess I will see you guys next time. So if you like what I'm doing, remember to follow me on my Facebook or go to my website, ruowen.com, or my YouTube channel. Subscribe my YouTube channel. Till then, I'll see you guys next time.